All right, what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Guys on DJ, aka God in the Wax, bringing another video. So this time, I want to talk about this book right here. I think I talked about it briefly on my channel before, but it's Dilla Time by Dan Charnas. It's a book about the life of J Dilla. Some music theory is mentioned in it and things like that, and just J Dilla's effect on the music industry, uh, with his contribution to the industry or to the you know culture of music, particularly hip hop music. But then, uh, at a certain point, his influence or his uh, what you call it, Dilla time, uh, which is the different timing rhythm of playing or making music and things like that, kind of influence other genres outside of hip hop to a certain extent. Or the artists, or jazz, things like that. Robert Glasper, people like that. So uh, it's a good book. It talks about Jay Dilla's life. He was an interesting dude. He was an interesting cat. He loved his people. Even though he might not always know how to show it all the time, which a lot of us can be guilty of that sometimes. Most of us, as a matter of fact. But one thing I found striking in this thing was two things. So first, when he got sick, um, he didn't take care of himself. And I wonder why that might have been. You could say it might have been his ego or something like that, or who knows. I got my theories, but which I won't go into here. But uh, he didn't take care of himself like he should have. And he was a very talented dude, and it's a shame that he didn't uh, do what he needed to do as far as getting his dialysis treatments and the other treatments that he needed to get to keep himself going. He would go on tours or go, hanging out with the dudes from the industry and just kind of let that stuff fall by the wayside and not take care of what he needed to take care of. Like if he needed to travel somewhere, he should have had it lined up where when he got to that spot, he had a hospital he could go to get his dialysis and his treatments done. If he wanted to travel like that. He probably should have just chilled at the crib and let that life go once he got diagnosed, or once he got sick. Uh, excuse me, but it's very interesting. Anyway, uh, yeah, he didn't take care of himself, so that's sad. I I understand where he's coming from. He don't want to face the fact that he has this illness and that he can't do this anymore, can't do that. Like one of the big things he was really bummed out about was that he couldn't have sexual intercourse anymore, like he was before. And that's a programming that a lot of men face. You know, in this world, we're programmed from a early age to think that having sex and hooking up and all this is what it's all about, and it's really not. Sex is, at the end of the day, the purpose of it is to procreate. People wield it like it's a toy. I remember one time when I was younger and stupider, this girl told me I had a cavalier attitude towards sex, which was true at the time. And a lot of dudes do. Uh, but yeah, anyway, just you he he shouldn't have let those type of things deter him from keeping himself healthy and taking care of himself. I know he was used to spending his time in the strip club. He probably went home with a stripper every night, or hooked up with strippers or whatever it was he was doing. They didn't go into too much detail about that, but uh, you know, uh, your health is very important. You got to take care of yourself. You got to be healthy, take care of yourself, and things of that nature. I did notice that he got sick after a European tour. I have my theories about that as well, which I won't get. Well, here's my thing. Jay Dilla was a very talented dude with music, and sound is very important in this universe. Uh, there's some things a lot of people don't know about. They don't read a lot, so they don't have the information. But supposedly, if you read the Emerald Tablets by Thoth the Atlantean, he says that these reptilian creatures, and I hate to go into the conspiracy. Just listen, hear me out real quick, okay? These reptilian entities, a certain sound can show their face. They use, you know, what's called a glamour or magic to mask themselves, and a certain sound can show their face. And when I first read this and I saw that part, I thought, wouldn't it be wild? This is a wild idea, right? And don't take it, no disrespect to J Dilla, no disrespect to his family or anybody like that. But wouldn't it be wild if he was targeted because he was so gifted musically and with music, and if anybody was going to discover these sounds, that can uncover these entities or whatever else sound can do, which most of us probably have no clue what sound can really do. Uh, if you hit the right note or you find the right frequency or whatever the case might be, what if he was targeted because he was so gifted with music, uh, and they didn't want him to discover these sounds? Uh, that's just a thought I had. Don't take it too seriously. I don't, but it's just something I thought about and you know reminisced on or thought on. But uh, and then they said that in a certain part of the book they mentioned how his mom had it. Like, what better way to mask it than to make it look like it's a genetic trait? I don't know. Who knows? But the point of the matter is, the book is a good book. It's very well written. Uh, Dilla was a genius, a true genius. Some of these producers out here claim themselves to be geniuses, and they're really not. I mean, they're good beat makers, they're good producers, but J Dilla was a true genius in his own right. Uh, and then and I mentioned two parts that really struck me. Was the first, the way they say he didn't take care of himself, and he didn't, and he wasn't diagnosed with lupus initially. They were saying something else, and then they finally realized that it might be lupus, uh, and it was kind of too late then. I don't know if that would have changed their treatment regimen for him or the medication they were giving him, but they didn't diagnose him properly at first. But the second part that struck me about this book was that when he died, like, people were trying to, like, I don't know, like, capitalize off his name. Like, uh, he had created a will, and his mom was in the will, his daughters, I think his brother, and, like, people were hating on the fact that his mom was, you know, uh, getting money from his music or different things related to him. She would give the okay for things outside of the quote unquote estate that he had set up with some dude, some guy. I forget the dude's name, Alex or Archie or something his name was. But anyway, uh, you know, but that's his mom. Like, that lady took care of him to his dying day. She gave up her business. She had a daycare business. I don't know if she lost it, but I know it went downhill with so much time she was spending in LA, which is where he ended up moving to from Detroit. Her business, I believe, was back in Detroit, and she spent every day with him, taking care of him and things like that. And she lost that, so he would want her to recoup once he's gone, to get some money and be able to try to get her life back going using his music and the things that he created while he was here. Uh, there's no way I would be mad at her. You could say whatever you want to say about her, but that's his mom. She brought him into the world, first off, and you know, I'm sure he loved her above all, more than anybody else on this planet. Only maybe his kids and things like that might have compared, uh, but the thing about it was the estate. The dude who was over the estate was trying to block her from making money off of his name and his creativity. Meanwhile, or like I remember, like, even it was even one point where she called this dude when she got lupus and was trying to get money for medication, and he told her to go kick rocks, basically told her to go get on welfare, you know. And it's like, when all the chips fell, come to find out, the estate was not giving money. Here, the estate was trying to make it sound like they wanted to have all the money come to them so that they could give the money to the other heirs, like his children, which is her grandchildren and things like that. But come to find out, most of the money that went to the estate, which was more than he had let people know, this dude that was over it, went to the lawyers and the people who were running the estate, which was him and his buddies and the people he had, as a part of that group. So basically, he was taking the money that J Dilla estate was making, giving very little to the heirs of the estate, and 65% of the money was going to him and the other lawyers and things like that, which is scandalous. So you telling me, you're going to tell me that I can't make any money off my son's name, which he would want me to, but you can make money off his name. It's scandalous, man. Like, the way these people and these lawyers and these people, or just people in general, think is really messed up. Like, the balls on that guy to do something like that, like to think that it's acceptable for him to make money off J Dilla's name as the executor of the will or the executor of the estate, but his own damn mama can't make money off of it. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. But yeah, J Dilla is a legendary dude. His name will live on for a long time, I'm sure, as long as it keeps getting propagated and people keep getting educated on what he contributed to the music industry and to music in general. It's very sad that he passed away. I would like to have seen what he could have done if he had lived to today, for example, with the technology and the different instruments we have now, like these newer MPCs and stems and all that kind of stuff, I think I did a video about that before, but yeah, it's a good book. I highly recommend you pick it up. I just finished reading it today, and I'm very happy that I read it. My next book that I want to read is going to be this one here. It's called The Art of Sample-Based Hip-Hop by Joseph G. Schloss, Making Beats. So the book is called Making Beats. So it's a nice sized book, not as thick as this J Dilla book. Like this this is a long read. This Dilla Time. Like, the lettering is small, it's small type, and it's a thick book. So it's gonna take you a minute to read it, even if you're a fast reader. But this book right here, the type is a little bit bigger, and I'm very interested to see what they're talking about in this book. The art of sample-based hip hop. So I'm gonna start reading this today. After I finish this video in a few minutes or whatever, a few hours. But yeah, J Dilla Time is a great book. I highly recommend it up. If I can, I'll leave a description I'll leave a link in the description to the Amazon link where you can buy it from. You won't be disappointed if you're a J Dilla fan, or if you're just curious about who he was and things like that. Read it, and it's a lot of good information on music theory. After he passes in the book, after that point when he passes, the guy still talks about, things like micro rhythm and things like that. How people are studying that sort of thing, or started studying that sort of thing, after J Dilla died, and just it's a really interesting read if you're into music and you like music and things like that, or making beats and stuff like that. It's a really interesting read, so definitely pick it up. Anyway, that's it for the video. Once I read this other book, I'll kind of give my synopsis or my thoughts on that one. But Dilla Time, I liked it a lot. I'm very happy I read it. I think my brother bought that book. I think he bought both of those books for me, Dilla Time and the Making Beats book. But it's a dope book. I'm happy I read it. Anyway, that's it for the video. Have a good one. Peace out.